Hello, podcast family, and welcome to the Made Fit Show. So today I want to take a little bit of time and kind of just talk with you about prediabetes, metabolic syndrome, and type 2 diabetes. And I want you to please pay attention, even if you think like, oh gosh, I've heard this, I know everything, or this doesn't pertain to me. The statistics are showing very quickly how fast this is rising. And I am just going to give you facts about it because I want you to know what it is. And we're just going to go into some interesting facts and some tools. But first and foremost, I'm going to start this podcast and throughout the podcast and at the end of the podcast, let you know that this is not medical advice by any means. I am simply sharing the facts with you. And anything that rings a bell to you or makes you go, oh, that could be me, or oh, that sounds like, something I should try. Not without consulting with your doctor, healthcare professional first. Okay, so these are just things that, the studies have shown that it might help or might make worse. But it's a conversation between you and your doctor, okay, because they are the experts in this. And I hope you have a good one and one that really keeps up on all of the research that's being done on it because of its prevalence in growth tremendously, which we'll talk about. They're finding out new things constantly and new ways to help work through it. And so that's why I'm here. I always want to help you, give you the tools for you to be able to take the tools and take them where you need to be able to help yourself or a loved one who might have metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, or type 2 diabetes. And a lot of times my clients come to me and they haven't been diagnosed with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. But talking with them, it sure looks like they've got metabolic syndrome. So, that's why I want to talk about this because you may not have been diagnosed with anything, but that doesn't mean that you're not at the beginning stages. Metabolic syndrome will transition in a few years to prediabetes, which will transition in a few years to type 2 diabetes if we don't do anything about it. So we're going to do something about it and really just give this disease a fight for its money. So are you ready? The very definition of type 2 diabetes is a chronic condition characterized by high levels of blood sugar resulting from the body's inability to effectively use insulin. Okay, so early detection and lifestyle modifications can be extremely valuable in promoting health and well-being. Early detection. So if you don't have one of those little tiny finger prickers, you can get them at any CVS or Walgreens. You can get them on Amazon, and they're kind of just like a blood pressure cuff. Why wouldn't you have that? If your family is prone to get high blood pressure and you don't go see the doctor that often, get yourself a cheap blood pressure cuff. They're automatic. You just stick it on and push a button, and you can look to see how you're doing, and you can watch your trends. Are you hanging in there and it's staying nice and robust, or is it getting low or is it getting high? And you're seeing a trend. And then that could, make you go see your doctor. And that's when that conversation starts. And you guys work together to make sure that it stays at a healthy level and doesn't get any worse. Okay, so let's first talk about metabolic syndrome. So data suggests an undeniable increase. Those specific numbers can vary depending on the study. I struggle to find like a number. And you hear lately, a lot of professionals will say, 88% of the population has, metabolic syndrome, or I've even heard up to 92%. Regardless, it's pretty high and it's rising rapidly, quickly, okay? Metabolic syndrome, by definition, is a cluster of conditions that occur together, increasing your risk of heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. Now, these conditions include high blood pressure, high blood sugar, excess body weight around the waist, and abnormal cholesterol or triglyceride levels. Okay, so any of those things, they're going to lean toward you having metabolic syndrome. The causes, now the exact cause of metabolic syndrome is not fully understood. Factors such as obesity, physical inactivity, insulin resistance, and genetics can play a role. Now, the symptoms, that's a tricky one. Symptoms of metabolic syndrome can include increased waist circumference, high blood pressure, high blood sugar levels, high triglycerides, and low levels of HDL, which is considered the good cholesterol. Now, prevention. To prevent or manage metabolic syndrome, individuals can focus on lifestyle changes such as maintaining a healthy weight, engaging in regular physical activity, following a healthy diet, such as a Mediterranean diet. That's statistically been shown to help keep metabolic syndrome a little bit more at bay, and quitting smoking, please, and managing those stress levels. Now, what numbers will tell you besides, the high blood pressure, the high triglycerides, the larger waist circumference? Besides those, what numbers are we looking at that indicate that you might have metabolic syndrome? So if you take a fasting blood sugar test, like I said, that finger pricker, if you're anywhere between 100 and 125 milligrams per deciliter, that is a sign that you have metabolic syndrome, okay? If you get your blood work done and there's hemoglobin A1C on there, anything between 5.7 and 6.4%. Keep in mind, your A1C is kind of your blood glucose is like instant. Like, where are you at right now? Where your A1C is like a 3-month snapshot of how you're looking. So both very important, and both obviously will vary. But the A1C, keep in mind, if you really start to take really, really good care of yourself and you're like, I am not, everybody in my family has type 2 diabetes and I won't, but your A1C is higher, be patient. I promise. If you go get your blood work done and you get it done 6 weeks later or 8 weeks later and it hasn't budged much, it just takes a little bit of time, but you are on your way to lowering that A1C. So, the fasting glucose will be a better indication, more on a daily or weekly basis versus the A1C, which does take a while for it to come down. All right, so let's talk about prediabetes. 1 in 3 adults have prediabetes in the United States. That's the conclusion of the research that I found. 1 in 3 adults. And we're not even talking about teenagers or children. So it's getting up there. Prediabetes is a condition in which blood sugar levels are higher than normal, but not yet high enough to be diagnosed as type 2 diabetes. So you're showing signs of it increasing, but it's just not quite to the point that they've just, drawn the line in the sand and said, this is, considered type 2 diabetes, where there's a lot of medical interventions that need to come into play. So symptoms, prediabetes often does not present any symptoms, which is why regular screenings are important for early detection. Okay, I really want to encourage you. Blood pricker, finger pricker, I should say, or go see your doctor as often as your insurance will let you, okay, to get that early screening if things start to go in the direction that you don't want them to, or even if you are trying very hard and you want that positive reinforcement to go often enough to get those screenings to see that what you're doing is working, okay? Fasting blood sugar is going to be between 100 and 125. And the hemoglobin A1C is 5.7 to 6.4, okay? So it's really the same as metabolic syndrome because anything, at least the medical community says, anything under 100 is considered normal. Pause for effect. I know Dr. Lauren would disagree with that. And then anything over the 125 is considered type 2 diabetes. So that's, those two are lumped together. But as you can imagine, the lower end, the 100 to, 110 is more metabolic syndrome, where prediabetes is going to be at the higher end of that because that's obviously showing a progression there. Oh, type 2 diabetes. 38.4 million Americans have type 2 diabetes back in 2021. That was the soonest I could find from a creditable source. I don't even consider the ADA a creditable source, to be honest with you. But I do believe that 38.4 million Americans have type 2 diabetes back in 2021. And keep in mind that many Americans haven't been diagnosed. They have it, but they don't know that they have it, which is so sad. I wish they would do pop-ups, in places and give people the opportunity to be screened. I really do. I'll put that on my list. So causes type 2 diabetes is primarily caused by insulin resistance, in which the body cells do not respond effectively to insulin, and inadequate insulin production by the pancreas. Okay, got to keep that pancreas healthy. Symptoms of type 2 diabetes may include increased thirst, frequent urination, unexplained weight loss, believe it or not, fatigue, blurred vision, and slow healing sores. It's a really big one. Prevention, of course, include maintaining healthy weight, engaging in regular physical activity. This is all stuff following a balanced diet, monitoring blood sugar levels, and avoiding tobacco use. All right. So now your fasting blood glucose, if it's over 126 milligrams per deciliter, your medical professional will tell you that you have type 2 diabetes. Take more than one test though. Okay. Just it's always good to take 2 tests. When you do that and the number's really, high for you, or you're seeing this number, just take it again and just make sure. Okay. Just do that. And then where did it go? I'm looking at my notes. Where did it go? Oh, your hemoglobin A1C over 6.4% is the full-blown type 2 diabetes. Okay. All right. So there are certain dietary patterns and specific foods that can contribute to this. I am not saying that if you eat this food one time or every once in a blue moon, that you are at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. These are foods that when they're chronically eaten, and it could be the same food chronically eaten. It could be a combination of all of this chronically eaten. But I do want to bring to your attention, what do I have here? I have 8, that there are 8 things that we really, really want to pay close attention to and make sure that we are not over consuming. The first one, going to shock you, isn't it? Sugary foods and beverages. Okay, now we're talking about sugary drinks like sodas and those fake fruit juices, candies, pastries, and sweetened cereals. So they can lead to rapid spikes in blood sugar levels and contribute to insulin resistance over time. Okay. Refined carbohydrates. So what are refined carbohydrates? Foods made with refined grains, such as a white bread, white rice, and pasta, lack fiber and essential nutrients. They can cause a rapid rise in blood sugar and also can contribute to insulin resistance. Now we're talking about eating it an awful lot. Processed foods. So what's the difference between refined and processed foods? Processed foods are high in unhealthy fats, different episode, added sugars and sodium, which can cause weight gain, inflammation, and metabolic dysfunction. Okay, so we're talking about fast food, packaged snacks, and frozen meals. Yes, there are healthy frozen meals, but the cheaper they are, usually the less love put into these frozen meals. So it's something you got to be cautious about. Trans fats and saturated fats. That's up for debate, right? My goodness, that's up for debate. We've got some saturated fat lovers and some people who say ward it off. So that's up for debate. But in the research that I did, and I'm just trying to be as transparent as I can, these are what kept coming up. Now, trans fats are something that it's tricky. I'm sure you know it could have 0.5% in the food serving and still show 0. But if you're eating 4 servings, then you're getting 2 grams. And trans fat has just been proven to not be good for you whatsoever. So the less refined and processed foods that you eat, the less chance of getting these trans fats that you'll have, because that's where they show up, right? And then as far as saturated fats go, I'm still a proponent, and obviously, because even the American Heart Association lifted their restrictions on saturated fat a little, it is good for you. You just don't want to eat a diet that's really high in saturated fats. Highly processed meats, and yes, that includes my bacon. Hurt to say I had bacon this morning, but that's something we've got to think about. Those highly processed meats are just highly processed foods. So we're talking bacon, sausage, hot dogs, deli meats, contain an awful lot of sodium. preservatives, and sometimes those unhealthy fats that may contribute to metabolic disturbances. High calorie foods. Okay, we're really trying to keep our weight down. And when we consume these high calorie foods, the chances of putting on excess weight are very high. And all of the things that I've listed so far are usually pretty highly caloric foods. Excessive alcohol consumption. I'll be honest with you, it's Saturday. My husband and I had a date, and where we went was a very special place. Very special place. And Mick was in a great mood, and they had a bar. And so he ordered me an Aperol Spritz, and I got it. And I'm telling you, I don't even think, no, it wasn't even noon yet. And I was like, oh, goodness. So we're saying excessive, all right? Not the occasional drink. I'm justifying it right here, but excessive. If you have to have a drink every single night to unwind, we got to get to the root of that problem and find another way. Okay. So it's not multiple drinks every single weekend, and it's not drinking every single day to quote unquote unwind. I know these kids can be hard. We got to find another way. Okay. And then number 8 is highly processed snack foods. So I just say quit snacking. And I know sometimes it's not a popular opinion, but I just, for insulin sensitivity, for, just giving your digestive tract a break, how about you just eat, 3 quality meals in the day and just take out the snacking altogether? Then you don't have to worry about, well, what is a highly processed snack food, but we know what that is. It could be a Chomps bar. Sorry, I know it's a healthier choice, but it is, highly processed. Baked Lays. I love those things, but they're terrible. So we eat baked Lays every day at lunch, that could be a problem. So lots of sodium. And even though they're baked, I still don't think they have the best ingredients whatsoever, but they are tasty. So now here's where I'm sorry, but I intentionally scare you because I love you. And I just want to remind you that if we keep putting it on the back burner and say, I'll take care of it on Monday, I'll take care of it next week, next month is my month to really focus on me. If it's in the family, but yet we're not monitoring, there are complications that can happen from this, serious complications. And I remember hearing Dr. Lauren say a long time ago, it's probably a team call that we did, that she wouldn't wish type 2 diabetes on her worst enemy. She said it is a terrible disease. Now, knock on wood, it doesn't really run in my family, and I haven't had any family members, hold on, that have had diabetes. I have to take that back. My niece and my nephew actually both have type 2 diabetes. So the younger generation does now, but anybody that's above me, my mom, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, father passed away at a young age. Grandfather, diabetes wasn't a thing, but you need to take it seriously. Okay. So some of the complications obviously are cardiovascular complications, including heart disease and hypertension, neuropathy. So this is nerve damage, especially in the legs and the feet. So it's incredibly painful, starting to lose those nerves. It's a tingling, it's a weakness. It's awful. Nephropathy. I can't say that 3 times fast. Nephropathy is diabetic. Nephropathy is the leading cause. Diabetes is the leading cause of kidney disease. So contracting diabetes is really going to do a number on your kidneys, and you kind of need them. Okay. They're very, very important for detoxing. Okay. So take good care of your kidneys. And that means not getting yourself to metabolic syndrome and above. Retinopathy, diabetic retinopathy is diabetes, which can damage the blood vessels in the retina, leading to vision problems and in severe cases, blindness. Look around right now. Okay, I don't care where you are. Look around right now at the beauty that you get to see. Okay, all the colors, all the different, shapes and sizes and textures. What a wonderful thing, right? We want to keep that. Foot complications. Now I can speak on foot complications, but not because of, diabetes. So there's such a thing as diabetic foot. Nerve damage and poor circulation increases the risk of foot ulcers, infections, and in severe cases, amputation. Okay. Again, maybe you're sitting, I'm standing at my desk, and I'm very grateful that I can stand at my desk. I'm very grateful I can take my walk every single day. Be grateful for that and take good care of yourself so you don't get these complications due to type 2 diabetes. Skin complications, skin infections, very common, and also even dry skin. Diabetes can cause dry, itchy skin, especially on the legs and the feet. Okay, so if you really start to notice an increase in the dryness and you can't attribute it to anything else, test yourself. Okay, pay attention. And then the last one is mental health, depression and anxiety. Okay, that increases an awful lot with diabetes. All right. Lifestyle changes. So let's talk about the good stuff now. Let's talk about lifestyle changes that we can do to keep us healthy. And listen to me, although it's considered, which I think is sad, it's considered a progressive condition. It can be managed through lifestyle. And in some cases, depending on person to person, it actually can be led to remission. But keep in mind, you will always, if you get to metabolic syndrome, you get to prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, and you just make a 180 and you do go into remission, you will for the rest of your life have to watch yourself and test and monitor to keep it at bay. Okay. The first one is obviously a healthy diet. Say it with me. I could have you on here saying this for me. Fruits, vegetables, some healthy whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats can help manage blood sugar levels and promote weight loss. Okay. Whole food based diet, regular exercise, of course, weight management, get the weight off if you have extra weight on you. If you don't, keep it off. And then stress management, of course, is another really big thing. Remember, we talked about cardiovascular disease. We don't want to stress the heart out anymore than we have to. And so stress management is another way, which, we'll have to do an episode on. I remember Dr. Lauren saying doing one on sleep, but also on stress management. The simple things that you can do, even if it's just 15 seconds, is huge. It really truly is, as opposed to being in a chronic 24/7, unless you're sleeping, which your body still stresses while you sleep. If you don't give your body any break whatsoever, that's very damaging. So, note to self: stress management podcast. Okay. Medications and insulin therapy. So there's oral medications that can be taken. Of course, now all of these peptides, the Wegovy, semaglutide, there's so many now. Can't even keep up with it. What is semaglutide? That is the generic term, I believe. A GLP-1. Okay, GLP-1s. Those are helping a lot of people with type 2 diabetes, which is where it all started, right? And then also insulin therapy is needed when you get up to the type 2 diabetes. This is where you work with your doctor for those kind of medication and insulin therapy. Bariatric surgery. So for individuals with severe obesity and uncontrolled type 2 diabetes, bariatric surgery may be considered as a treatment option. I'm going to tell you, my niece, who's now in China, I'm very proud of her. She wants to live in Korea, but right now she's in China teaching English as a second language. She's a young thing. She's, 22, 23. She's about ready to have a birthday. And she has been morbidly obese her whole, uh, most of her life, and had bariatric surgery, probably almost a year ago, and is down well over 100 pounds. And all of her markers have improved greatly. So that was the best choice for her. That is what she wanted to do, and it worked beautifully for her. It continues to work beautifully for her, and I'm really proud of her. So, bariatric surgery is an option for some people, and I wish I was closer to that sweet thing, but we've never lived real close to one another. But she's a doll. So anyway, regular monitoring and following up is essential. Okay, whether you're not watching me, you're listening to me. I just kind of did whether you're going up or whether you're going down. You've got to remember that regular monitoring and follow up is essential. Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about is some of the lifestyle modifications that you could do that could complement the therapy that you're on if you've got, metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, or prediabetes. You and your doctor have had that conversation and they're like, we need to do stuff. These are just some things that studies have shown may help. You don't go out on your own and, write down everything I say, go to Amazon, order it, and start ingesting it all. Okay. No, please don't do that. But you can write down this list and go to your doctor and say, I'm curious about this. Is this something that can complement what I'm already doing? Okay. So Pinky promised me that's where you're at with this. You'll listen to you know, um, these options that are outside of, especially for type 2 diabetics, that are outside of their insulin therapy and their medications, that there might be something that Mother Nature has created that could complement it, never take the place of it. Okay. So the first one is some specific foods. Cinnamon, especially Ceylon cinnamon, which is a more expensive type of cinnamon, I believe, but Ceylon cinnamon. My daughter turned me onto this when she had a coffee shop. She would always put a little bit of cinnamon powder in her coffee grounds, and she'd put a drop or two of vanilla extract. So good. My husband doesn't like flavored coffee, and so I only get to do that when he's out of town. But it's also very good for you, right? To put that cinnamon in your coffee. So a cinnamon, fenugreek, bitter melon, and green tea have been studied for their potential benefits in managing blood sugar levels. Green tea, there I go again, right? Green tea's so good for you on so many different levels. Omega-3 fatty acids. Fish oil supplements or consuming fatty fish rich in omega-3 may help reduce inflammation and improve heart health in individuals with metabolic syndrome or diabetes. Okay. So if you, man, and I hear it a lot, I don't like fish, supplement then. Okay. But gosh, fish can be so good. Chilean sea bass, nice fatty fish. Salmon, smoked sea salt. How many times have I said that? If you've tried salmon, but you've never put smoked sea salt on it and put it in an air fryer, try it one more time, okay? Physical activity, obviously, stress reduction, mind body techniques. When you feel heart palpitations or you feel a tightness in your chest or your blood boiling, try to go to Bora Bora and box breathe for just a couple of seconds, okay? Take yourself, whenever you start to feel that stress, take yourself out of it. I don't care if it's 5 seconds, it's so good for you, okay? Herbal supplements, again, a complement after you've talked to your doctor. Berberine, studies show that berberine, a compound that's found in certain plants, may help improve blood sugar control and insulin sensitivity. Okay, you hear a lot about berberine on social media, and the studies that I've done, it looks very, very promising. But you are an individual, and you never know what kind of complications you can have if you're on something else and you add something without talking with someone who understands all of this. You can't just make that decision for yourself. Okay. Alpha lipoic acid. That's an antioxidant, and it may help reduce oxidative stress and improve insulin sensitivity in individuals with diabetes. Okay. All right. Apple cider vinegar. So some studies suggest that apple cider vinegar may help improve insulin sensitivity and lower blood sugar levels, but truly there needs to be more research on it. I still say the jury's kind of out on it. I actually like the taste of it. It was hard on my teeth. Should have used a straw. But there for a while, a long time ago, I was having just a little tiny bit of it in the morning in some hot water. I actually really liked it. I think I like any hot beverage, to be honest with you. And it might have benefit, but that's for you and your doctor to decide. Probiotics. I want you on probiotics. Probiotics are great for you. We don't have a very diverse gut anymore because of our diets. So probiotics are a great thing to have for, 95% of us. Now, maintaining a healthy gut microbiome through probiotic supplements or fermented foods. If you're really good about eating those, you may not need the probiotic. They may have the potential benefits for metabolic health and inflammation. All right. And then the very last one is chromium. Now, chromium is a mineral that plays a role in insulin sensitivity. Some studies suggest that chromium supplements may help improve blood sugar control in individuals with type 2 diabetes. May talk to your doctor. So there you go. That was a lot. But I wanted you to have this because it's a resource now for you. Okay. Understanding metabolic syndrome symptoms, what you're looking for if you do testing, what you can do to help put that prediabetes, diabetes into remission. What happens if we don't? I don't like scare tactics very often, but I don't think sometimes that we realize how horrible when it progresses it can be, because so many people have it, and so all you hear is, yeah, I take my insulin shot. But if it's not managed or it's not caught in time, it can get pretty darn ugly. So I appreciate, if you're still here with me, I appreciate you getting through this. And if this is you, I'm proud of you. And find somebody, could be Dr. Lauren, could be myself, somebody that can help you live that healthy lifestyle that helps keep these kind of things out of your peripherals, gone. You and your loved ones, and share this episode with other people, and be your own advocate, and don't just allow your doctors to only be medicine driven. There are lifestyle changes that they should know about, help you with, and monitor for you that it's working for you. So be your own advocate and get some really, really good help to become insulin sensitive so that you don't have metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, or type 2 diabetes. Okay. As always, I hope you wake up feeling prepared, which I really think you should now. And you go to bed feeling very, 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 very proud. I appreciate you guys so much. And I hope you have a great day. Talk to you later. Wow, we've reached the end. But before we leave you, we'd love to hear from you. After all, it's not every day that someone reaches out and asks for your opinion. And to us, your opinion does matter.
Now, the content in this episode is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition.
Share this episode with anyone you think needs to hear this message. And please remember to do your part of the bargain by rating, reviewing, and subscribing wherever you listen to the Made Fits show.
We are Melissa and Dr. Fitz, and until next time, thank you for your time, support, and action you take in your own health journey. You get one life. Let's live it abundantly together.